G'day guys, the old mate Big J here, and welcome to another edition of Aussie Boxing Talk, the show that literally punches you right between the fucking eyes. And it's review time, so it's the 27th of December, 2025, so it's that time to reflect. It's the cruisiest week of the year between Christmas and New Year's when you pretty much do fuck all. So it's time to review, so I've got the list here of the main players of what they did this year. Pretty much sticking to former or current world champions and what they've done over the year, because if I mentioned everyone, this would go for 3 fucking hours, and I'm not doing that. So let's get it. So, title fights, wins, losses, what they've done for the year, that sort of stuff. Like I did this one last year as well, but I'm keeping to a year in review. So let's start with the guys on top at the moment. Jai Pattaya, 29-0. Now, what's 26 KOs or something? So he's had 3 fights this year, all on the Gold Coast. Fought on the 8th of June, the 6th of December. For David Nika, knocked him out in 4 rounds. For Claudio Squaro, knocked him out in 5 rounds. And then fought Sin Cara recently, knocked him out in 8 rounds. 3 very easy, successful defenses of his IBF and Ring Magazine Cruiserweight titles. But as we know, the Cruiserweight division is piss poor. And Jai doesn't really deserve much credit for beating these guys, because one guy, David Nika, was a novice, a 10-fight novice. Claudio Squaro was a blown-up super middleweight who's never fought outside of Italy. And Sin Cara was a 40-year-old man who never fought outside of Germany. So, yeah. Well, he gets a pass for Sin Cara because Sin Cara was his mandatory. So, but, you know, Jai Pattaya hopefully goes on to bigger and better things. He's got to fight one of the other champions next year, the Ramirez or I can't remember the other bloke's name, Castrian or whatever his bloody name is, the WBC champ, the fella just beat Badu Jack. And hopefully, you know, Jai can get the fights that he deserves next year in 2026, because 2025 was just going through the motions, let's be honest. Three good defenses, but piss poor competition. But then again, the Cruiserweight's piss poor at best anyway, so... Anyway, moving on to Tim Tszyu, fought 3 times this year. April 6th against Joey Spencer, got a 4th round knockout there. Then had the WBC Super Welterweight Championship against Fundora, the rematch. Retired in 7th rounds there, got knocked down in round number 1, just copped a no beating. I mean, Tim has not been the same since the first Fundora fight. There's no buts or maybes about that. I mean, with his last fight against Anthony Velquel, I can't pronounce his bloody name, Anthony V, on the 16th of December, got a 10th round UD, but didn't look that great. And still, his defense was down, but I think he needs more time to gel with his new team, and they're looking about bringing him back in March. Now, there has been rumblings that he might go after Xander Zayas once Xander has his unification bout with the other champion, but I'd say that's not a good idea. I don't think Tim's ready for another world title shot for at least another 12 months. This time next year. But anyway, like everything, Tim has to prove his worth in the ring. Sam Goodman, as we know, fought Nick Ball for the featherweight WBA featherweight world championship on, I think it was in May, 5th of May. Got the UD, a loss. Made a good account of himself, but was never really going to win. Sam Goodman, and he had a fight the other night on the Tim Tszyu card. Sam Goodman's just proved he just doesn't have the power to be a world champion. His skill set is there. Everything else is there. He just doesn't have the power. Because when he comes up against other guys, he'll just get knocked out. The only reason he survived Nick Ball, because Nick Ball was so tiny. Nick Ball's like 5'2". So I think that if Sam was to come up against... I mean, he's glad he didn't go up against Inoue, because Inoue would have decapitated him. So that just would have been a brutal beatdown. So, anyway, I don't really see Sam Goodman ever being a world champion. I'd like to eat my words on that. But from what I've seen, yeah, Sam Goodman gets wins, but they're not highlight reels. There's no knockouts. There's no dominating wins. It's just, he does what he needs to win, but there's just no spark there. But anyway. So moving on to former WBA bantamweight champion Jason Maloney. He fought twice this year already, and Jason Maloney was the disappointment of the year because he lost again on the 24th of February to another kickboxer called Tanshin Nasakara. Like a kickboxer. lost again to another kickboxer in a 10th round UD, and then fought Helen Gomez on the Jai Pattaya undercard, so the 6th of December, in the 4th round knockout, which a bloke he should have knocked out in 1 round. So really, I think Jason Maloney is probably the letdown of the year. That and Justice Hooney against Fabio Wardley is winning every single round of that fight, and then Justice Hooney got cleaned up in 1 punch. I've always said that Justice Hooney ain't shit, is that he's got no power in his hands, and he's got a glass jaw, and it was proven. 1 punch from a worn-down, beat-up Fabio Wardley was all it took to derail Justice Hooney. And I saw it coming 3-4 fights before it happened. So, because he's got no power, and he's got no chin. And at heavyweight, that's what you need to succeed. So, Justice Hooney is another complete letdown of the year, and I don't see him going anywhere. So, anyway, that's his problem. Andrew Maloney only fought once this year, former WBA super flyweight champion. Fought in Fiji against some bloke I can't even pronounce, but that was to keep his IBF title ranking, and looks like he's either going to get step-aside money or his IBF 115 title shot sometime next year. Because Bam Rodriguez has got all the other belts, WBC, WBA, WBO, and now he wants to be undisputed before moving up to bantamweight. But Andrew's like, no, I want my title shot first. So then we got George Kambosos Jr. fought twice, 22nd of March against Jake Wiley. Got a 12-round UD, didn't look that great. And it showed when he fought Richards and Hitchens and got an 8th round knockout loss to Richards and Hitchens, who basically just beat the shit out of him. So, and I don't know why George went to 140, because he's a tiny 135er. He really is. So, I mean, if George retires now, there's no shame in that. George has had a fantastic career. He's won every belt under the sun that you possibly could win, right? At lightweight, he's had massive fights. He's had 2 of the biggest fights Australia's ever seen. He fought in Madison Square Garden. He's fought in Madison Square twice, even though it was a Hulu Centre. He's had a fantastic career. He's had some massive fights. He's fought 3 of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world at the moment. Lopez, Haney, and Lomachenko. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Right, he can hold his head high. The only shame would be to continue on and just end up being a moving punching bag for low-level competition. That would be the only shame. If he retires now, he's got nothing to be ashamed of. So, I wish George all the best, and hopefully he does pull the pin, because he's got nothing left to prove. Anyway, so we move on to former IBF, the man that Hitchison beat for the title, Liam Paro, for the 140 belt. He fought Jonathan Nevio, got a 5th round retirement there on the 25th of June, and then fought David Payet, I think that's how you pronounce it, on the 18th of September up there in Brisbane. Got the UD, but didn't look great. Now, he is fighting Paddy Donovan on the Nikita Tszyu Mick Zarafa undercard in a couple of weeks. This is for the IBF 147 title eliminator against Lewis Crocker, I think his name is, the IBF champ. So Liam really needs to showcase everything he's got to get that shot. Can he beat Paddy Donovan? He has to prove it in the ring. So, but yeah, I mean, Paro had a bit of a back burner 2025, but if he gets his shot next year, it'll be a good 2026, but he's got to win this fight. So he needs to start the year with a bang, with completely cleaning up Paddy Donovan and then moving on to Lewis Crocker. So that's the major players of the boys. I mean, we've got Paul Fleming's return and Nikita in there and Mick Zarafa, but those guys aren't fighting for world titles, so I'm not going to put them in there, otherwise this video would take 3 fucking hours. So in review for the lads, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 world title fights. So Jai Pattaya actually had 3, Tim Tszyu had 1, Sam had 1, George had 1, and we're 3 and 3. We're 3 apiece. 3 wins, 3 losses. So not that great for the boys. I mean, 2025 for world titles has not been a good year. I mean, last year I think we had like 20 world title fights. Actually, I'll add them up. So 6 for the boys, and I've still got the girls yet. So, but 6 world title fights for the lads, and it's 3 and 3. So not a great year for world title fights for the Aussie fellas. But let's move on to the girls who are fucking killing it at the moment. Okay, so we've got Shanika Johnson. She's fought 3 times this year, all 3 significant world title fights. The rematch against Nina Hughes for the WBA bantamweight title. She got the 7th round KO, and Nina Hughes is one that unfortunately looked you know when those fighters look great but they age a decade overnight? That's what happened to Nina Hughes. Mind you, she was 42 at the time. So she looked every day of it. It was sad because I thought she won the first fight. Back in May of last year at the Lomachenko-Kambosos fight, which I had the privilege to go to. I thought Nina won the first fight, but Shanika proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that she was the champion because she easily beat Nina Hughes. Then she moved on to Sharetta Metcalf for the undisputed bantamweight title. And I didn't really agree with this because, yes, Sharetta was the IBF who beat Mio Shirota, the Japanese girl who beat Ebony Bridges. But they threw in Dina Thorsen's WBC and WBO belts as well because Dina Thorsen's all having a baby. I didn't agree with that. I thought it should have just been IBF, WBA, and the other belt should have been vacant for the other girls to have a crack at. But Shanika won the lot. I think that was on the Mike Tyson undercard, Jake Paul Mike Tyson undercard. And she, got Metcalf out of there in a 9th round KO. She just recently defended the titles on the Jake Paul Anthony Joshua card in a UD against Amanda Gailey, I think her name is. So she's still undisputed bantamweight champion. She probably will get to fight Thorsen sometime next year. But there was someone else they were talking about that was... they did mention someone else that Shanika had to fight first before Thorsen. Can't remember, but anyway. So Shanika, killing it for the girls, undisputed bantamweight champion, has had 3 major world title fights and 3 wins. So rematch, undisputed defense. You can't really top that. So then we move on to Kay Scott, who's had 2 fights against Olivia Curry this year for the WBC, WBA middleweight titles. First one was in September. They got the draw. Then they had another one again last week on the 20th of December, like literally last week. And Kay come away with the dominated win. I think it was 98-92 times 2 and 97-93. So Kay got the easy win. I watched the fight. Kay got the easy win. Hopefully that'll lead into a 3rd fight with Desley Robinson. But there is a Canadian girl out there. Tamar, I can't remember her last name, but they did mention her. And I looked up on BoxRec. This Canadian girl doesn't even have a world title as number 1. How the fuck can you be number 1 if you don't have a world title? That makes no fucking sense. Come on, BoxRec, pull your fingers out of your ass. How the fuck can you put someone who's never fought for a world title in their lives the number 1 fighter in the division? When 2 girls from Australia have got 2 belts each. Desley Robinson's probably the number 1 fighter because she's beaten Kay Scott. But anyway, so hopefully Desley and Kay run into each other for a trilogy match for Undisputed, but we'll see what happens. Speaking of Desley, she's had 2 fights this year. A sort of unification bout, putting up her IBF title against the vacant WBO title on 11th of April 2025, and she got the UD. And in her defense of those titles, earlier in the year, she fought a Logan Holler and got the UD on the 18th of October 2025. So Desley Robinson and Kay Scott are dominating the middleweight divisions of the women's at the moment. And I think if you discount Shanika because she's a Kiwi, I think Desley is the female fighter of the year for Australia. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. All right, and then we move on to Sky Nicholson, who, if she didn't get this win, last win, she would have been the disappointment of the year because she fought Tiara Brown on the 22nd of March, lost the fight, even though I thought she won, but she lost her WBC featherweight title, dropped down to 122, fought an absolute couple of tomato cans, one on the 5th of July, one on the 23rd of August. I wasn't even going to mention their names because I don't think I could pronounce them anyway. And getting split decision wins, but she's given herself back a bit of credibility. On the 13th of December, she fought former WBC bantamweight champion Luna Avila and got the UD, and I saw that fight, and Sky made it look easy. Sky made her look like an amateur. To her credit, I thought Luna would have put up much more of a fight considering she was 28-4-1 at the time of the fight. Sky was only 13-1-0, 13-1. So I thought it was very good that, you know, Sky did what she needed to do to win. I mean, it wasn't a performance to write home, but she clearly outclassed this girl. So you got to give credit where credit is due. She beat a former world champion, and she beat her easy. So, I mean, the girls are killing it. I mean, the girls have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 world title fights, and they've won all but 2. Shanika's won all her 3. Kay got a draw and won. Desley won both hers. Sky lost her fight, because I'm not counting the last one because it was the interim title. So the girls are 6-1-1 for world title fights. 6 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. The only girl to win a world title, lose a world title fight this year is Sky Nicholson. All right. Desley's won both of hers. Kay's 1 draw, 1 win, and Shanika's won all of hers. So, I mean, I want to hear your comments in the comment section. Who do you give Fighter of the Year to, Jai or Shanika? I'm very interested to hear, because on paper Shanika kills it, because she's what, rematch, undisputed in defense. That's way better than what Jai's done. And these are legit champions, except for Amanda Gill, but you know, Metcalf. But then again, you know, Nina Hughes, 42 years old, Sharita Metcalf, 40 years old, Amanda Gill, 36 years old. These are not young ladies. Put Shanika up against someone her own age, she loses. Ellie Scottney was younger than her. Ellie Scottney beat the brakes off of her, boxed her ears off. But anyway, we're not here to diss people. So that's 2025 in a nutshell, guys. So all up, what, 14 world title fights, which is actually pretty low considering the last year we had like 20 something. 14 world title fights for, hang on, 9 wins, 1 draw, and no, that's not right. Hang on, let me just count it up here. So Jai's had 3. Then you have Tim's 1, Sam's 1, George's 1, so that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 world title fights, 4 losses, because Sky, Tim, Sam, and George all lost, and 7 wins and 1 draw. So Shanika got 3 wins. Desley's got 2. So yeah, 14 world title fights. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 6, 9 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw. That's right, that's 14. So 9 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw. Not a bad, well, not the greatest year for Australian boxing for world title fights. Not the greatest year at all, because obviously the Maloneys haven't had any world title fights. I'm not going to count Justice Suni because that was a interim title. And that's about it. But the girls are absolutely killing it. I mean, Shay Keneally hasn't had a fight this year. She was supposed to defend her WBA belt earlier in the year, but that fell through. She's still the WBA light heavyweight title. I just looked it up on WBA's website just before. But, you know, I wouldn't say a disappointing year for Australian boxing this year. I would say nothing like last year, nothing like the last few years. Like the last few years, like 2022, 2021, like we had a great run from 2021 to probably about last year. This year, the girls have had an absolute great year. The guys have had a shocker. So, but anyway, we'll see what 2026 brings. And like, share, and subscribe, guys. Leave your comments in the comment section. subscribe. Let's get these subscriptions up. You know, I want to see if I can get 1,000, because once I get 1,000, I'll start making money out of this. You know, I'm not doing this for my, oh, I am doing this for my health, because if I make money, it contributes to my health. As always, guys, tackle the ball, wrestle, crock hard, and yourself the fuck up, and we'll see you again soon.